Oh, hello. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing well. I'm glad you came when you saw the thumbnail, because as it happens, I have a little update for you all. Turns out XCOM Legends isn't as dead and buried as I initially thought it was going to be. In fact, it's actually available to download right now. Now, I know you lot. You ain't stupid. Why would you download a mobile game when all most ever do is nickel and dime its players into pointless grinds where ultimately you will spend, well, nickels and dimes to progress even further? Well, dear viewer, I decided to download the game after getting an advert for it while watching Arch talk about Wizards of the Coast being racist again. It honestly felt like fate, I'm not gonna lie. My first topic come back to, for lack of a better term, haunt me when I least expected it. And after playing the game, I can see why it has its pulls on people. And that's worrying for the reasons we'll go into in today's follow-up video. So, ladies, gentlemen and other warp entities in between, sit back and relax as I take you through XCOM Legends and why you should not download it. Now, for those who didn't watch the first episode, which you shouldn't by the way, because I sound worse than I do now, believe it or not. In the first episode, I covered XCOM Legends, a mobile gacha game soft launched in Indonesia and Malaysia, two countries within the sphere of mobile gaming mega money. Set in the XCOM universe, you collect and upgrade heroes, skills, and equipment to battle waves and waves of enemies in either a campaign, if you can even call it that, and special arenas online. Now, sounds simple enough, right? Well, that's because it is. But it's dumb. Now, dumb. Not from a gacha game perspective, because the types of people that play these games are a few brain cells from the term medically dead, so you have to make it dumbed down so the plebs can understand it. No, dumb from an XCOM perspective, because when I think of XCOM, I imagine tactical and strategic gameplay with so many factors to consider that ignoring any of them will make you cry, and if you are a tactical genius, the RNG will make you cry. In the end,
you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
This quote-unquote game does not make you cry, which in my mind does not qualify it for the title of XCOM. Now, maybe I'm just a purist, and like my turn-based xeno-killing simulators a certain way, but seeing XCOM slapped onto something that barely resembles the overarching franchise reminds me of the Dark Ages, as I discussed last time. Now, that's an entire rabbit hole I could go down, but the video done by Charlatan Wonder illustrates my point perfectly. A point shared by both XCOM and 40k that when you start whoring out your license to anyone who will take it, don't expect a consistent level of quality of games to come out as a result. Like a child that comes out of an abusive one-night stand, it's gonna have issues. How many issues, you may ask? Well, let me get straight into it because there's a lot. Starting with gameplay. How well does it perform? Well, graphically it's actually good, giving you the option to adjust frames per second and graphic quality, which I don't hear about a lot. Plus, it has a temperature feature so that when your device gets a little toasty, it lowers the settings so your phone can take a breather. Only problem is that you may as well be giving a handjob to a campfire because your phone gets hot very quickly. So that 60 FPS and high graphic settings won't mean shit 3 missions in. You may as well play the PC port for this game because unless your phone comes with a cooling system, the battles are just going to look like live leak footage with zero amounts of the entertainment. Which, by the way, moving on to the missions themselves, I wouldn't be complaining this bad if the game was actually fun. It's not. Now, mobile games ain't my cup of tea, but even I can't fathom as to why somebody would play this game. Most characters have like 2 abilities and either a passive skill or a third ability. Couple this with a type system and movement turn mechanics, you'd expect a decent amount of strategy to this game. I mean, other games can pull it off fine. Especially when this game has RNG, chances to hit, which I was wrong about in my first video, I'll admit, but I was still right about it not being XCOM-like, as to be honest you never fucking miss unless your character gets flashbanged in some way. But no, there's no strategy to like 95% of XCOM Legends. It's a straight illusion. Now, I've completed the first 2 chapters of the game, each about 25 missions each, and got through half of the 3rd chapter, and I can honestly say I just spammed area abilities as well as killing the fastest enemy in a certain order. And by doing that, I just brute forced my way through the game. And before anyone brings up the point of, well, Nathan, in some missions you have to take out the correct order of enemies, otherwise you lose. Yeah, numbnuts, it's not exactly strategy when the game tells you how to beat it. It's XCOM. The strategy is supposed to always be fuck around and find out. Giving me all this info on character types and abilities doesn't exactly keep me interested when, with a team of 5 shitters, I can clap cheeks until a stupid boss gimmick causes me to press a different button on one specific mission. Oh yeah, speaking of characters, if I asked you about XCOM Legends, about which faction you'd play in XCOM Legends, I'm super certain you'd say XCOM because of the name XCOM. This isn't Advent Legends or Elder Legends, it's, now say it with me boys and girls, XCOM Legends. So why in Braddy Daddyford's name can I play as literally anything I want? I can recruit Exalt members, aliens, Advent Cybernetics, etc. Now, I get having access to Reapers, Skirmishers and Templars because those are sub-factions which team up with XCOM in the games and books. Yes, there's books. Yes, I'm covering them. Anyway, I get that. But I fail to see the point in letting me play as XCOM's sworn enemies all because of some big bad dude that exists outside the universe. Like some friendship is magic type of shit. It says on nearly all of the enemies' bios that they broke free of Advent in some Mary Sue ass way and is now fighting for the good guys. Also to note, some of the animations are kinda janky as well. Like, take for example this hero screen of Ancient Duchess. Look at the fucking hand removal. Also Enigma. The backside of his auto pistol is digging into him. I get some games have clipping issues, but this one is just weird. Like, it's very obvious that that should not be there. Also, Agent Champion must be acrixophobic because he just absolutely refuses to touch the underside of his grenade launcher, which, may I remind you, is a secondary in XCOM. He's carrying around a secondary weapon, but he also has shotgun shells on his side armor. Like, who the fuck are they for? Oh, let me guess, they just reused assets without thinking about it. Makes sense. Also, in the game, they've just started making shit up, like Charon, who's supposed to be some 4th rejected member of the Chosen despite having no personality or originality, which was one of the best things about the Chosen. There's also this bitch named Tariff, who is a prototype cybernetic with 4 arms and a floating orb, whose job it is to, well, supposedly was to monitor the Elder's gateway and control the flow of passage. I'm sorry, but that's the dumbest bio I've heard yet for 2 simple reasons. One is that we never see or hear mention of an Elder construct being able to do this. They never ever show up in neither of the first 2 reboot games, and surely we would have seen it if it was dealing with passageways, as the Avenger had an actual network set up to access the passageways to the final mission, which, speaking of which, reason number 2, like I said, if that was the case, then the Commander's avatar would have never made it to the Elder Stronghold in the final mission, because she could have just, like, snapped all 8 of her fingers dual style, and then we would have been sent back to the Avenger. I mean, on top of that, they also included the typical scaly bait by adding a Viper to please the degenerate snake fuckers. Not an unheard of concept, but wait till you hear this. So the Vipers have been known to join only 2 factions, the Elders who enslaved them, and that one Viper bitch from Chimera Squad who joined the, Diversity Rules XCOM Police Department. Now for some reason, in this game, the Viper isn't a part of the XCOM faction group, nor is Mamba, her name by the way, a part of the Alien faction group despite her being an alien. No, she is part of the Skirmisher faction group. And if you don't know why that's retarded, it's because the Skirmishers, lore-wise, are made up of liberated Advent troopers that have had their neural chips taken out to stop both their tracking signal and programmed thoughts. Fun fact, they also hate aliens. Like, hate aliens. Not, oh, you see a spooky alien in the distance and you're like, oh, I don't like him on my property. I mean Black Templar 40k hate aliens. Because Aliens are used by the Elders to cause most of their shenanigans. And it's the aliens who not only have their DNA spliced with humans, making them abominations, but it's the same aliens that help watch over the black site facilities that melt humans down for their essence. So not only are they part of the Elder DNA program, they aid in its protection. So why is a Viper part of the one group that above all else will fucking hate them? Like, you could have picked any other group and you chose the worst one. Because Templars are kind of neutral to the idea of aliens because of the whole psionic link that most creatures have. They just don't like them because of general hostilities, like Star Wars-y stuff, everything's bound by the Force. Everything in XCOM is bound by a psionic network. And the other faction, the Reapers, just want to be left the fuck alone and will kill aliens on sight should they show up in their territory. The Skirmishers actively go out and kill the aliens for what they do to their fellow humans in an effort to destroy gene clinics and Elder facilities, which is why they like XCOM so much, despite XCOM also killing Advent soldiers. It's a very strong mutual hatred. So, they wrote in the description that this snake just happened to have gone through trauma under humans and aliens alike, so Betos, the leader, accepted her like she's some kind of totally original don't steal edgy Tumblr OC. What else? Oh, that's right. Why use assets from a game that has a bunch of cool and practical looking armor such as the Anarchy's Children's skull helmets, the servo-assisted heavy body armor, and the baller looking alien ruler outfits, and use none of them? In fact, most outfits in the app are somewhat original. Now, that would be a good thing, right? Some actual original looking characters. Except when you are Iridium Starfish, that's not your modus operandi, is it? Instead, it's making nearly everyone look like a store brand Destiny character that they just found the concept art for in the bins outside of Bungie headquarters. I mean, let me just flash a few up here and you tell me if any of these seem appropriate. They don't, do they? Next up is the game can be very buggy at times. Now, I showed you before about how some of the animations are jank, but gameplay wise it doesn't get any better. For example, look at this footage here. I was playing a training mission for Agent Geist. However, in some missions it is possible to soft lock yourself. The blue particles on screen represent me pressing the screen, and as you can see I have near enough pressed everything to further the mission. In fact, I think there was nothing else I could press on. I mean, maybe you could tell me in the comments if I missed one crucial button, but if you keep going over the footage, I pressed on every single one of those bitches. Now, on top of that, but following on from that, the UI on the main menu can just disappear at times. It did happen to me twice already, but they might have patched that out by now. I wish I did capture a screenshot of it. But it's not just me either. Other people on the App Store have been reporting issues of soft locking their game through covert ops and training missions also. I'll flash a few reviews on screen just to prove I'm not bullshitting you. And that's just naming a few issues. One of the biggest issues I have are sneaky little ways this game is trying to stand out amongst the rest. Mainly the way the game isn't being total aids to play. For example, your agents don't suffer from a fatigue meter like other games. So you can keep playing and playing to your heart's content, winning or losing, it does not matter. The fact that you can unlock heroes in this is super fucking quick. Like by mission 25, I had about 10 heroes, and that was just from a few hours of clicking. Mindlessly clicking on instant rewards and the IDLE rewards chest for you to, that you get for doing nothing. It's just a near enough constant dopamine feed, and that's my biggest in-game issue. Not the microtransactions, not the fact that the game offers a fucking battle pass system, or the fact that the game is buggy as shit but the loot boxes work fine. But it's its design, by nature, keeps people with short attention spans hooked, and it is a predatory practice in the most simple sense. Now, some people defend it for getting rid of a shitty feature, such as, the fatigue feature that I mentioned. You don't give praise to something or someone for not doing something terrible. It's the minimum of decency. That's like a parent bragging about feeding their kid, which translates equally to, I don't let my kids starve. Yeah, well done dickhead, it's kinda your job to do that. Same with game companies. Why is it such a foreign concept that if you don't fuck over players, they might like you in time? But not that you should fuck them over anyway, you shouldn't, and that's my point. Yeah, Nathan, shitty mobile game is shitty, why make such a fuss over something so small, the game isn't law changing and it's not a mainline entry. What's the issue? The issue is that this is how it starts. One shitty entry here, a side game there, and then it becomes normalised. What separates this game from Clash of Clans or Raid Shadow Legends is that they are their own mobile gaming IPs or intellectual property. XCOM isn't a mobile gaming IP, it is a AAA franchise with some of the most dedicated fans around, who just want to see their favourite Xeno-killing, base-building, sweater-wearing, army-simulating franchise stay in the good graces of quality. We had a rough patch years ago, but the legacy that Jake Solomon had clawed back before his departure from Firaxis has been amazing. From Enemy Unknown to Enemy Within, XCOM 2 to War of the Chosen, and then to the Tactical Legacy free upgrade, the team at Firaxis have shown they care. They really do care about the community. So to see Iridium Starfish use all that good work and put it into something insulting to the IP gives me reason for concern. Chimera Squad at least had a little soul to it, despite it being a 90s cartoon adaptation in my opinion. And to be honest, it's not the fault of Iridium Starfish. If I seemed kinda hostile to the studio, it's because I was being slightly reactionary to the news of an XCOM mobile game. Yes, okay, they do share some of the criticism for releasing such a poor product by mobile game standards, but ultimately, it's 2K that I have absolute vitriol for. They authorised this. They want to exploit ADHD-riddled Asian people with shit-tier gaming and now plan on releasing it worldwide. They even pulled a dick move on Iridium and pulled development from them in this statement I got a few days ago. So now, 2K owns it all. Iridium's website is still just their logo and XCOM Legends remain as their only game. I hope, as a studio, they pull themselves above the shit and prosper in the mobile market. Highly unlikely, but I've got bigger battles to wage, to be honest. Using XCOM, a series loved by millions across several generations of boomers, millennials and zoomers alike, using that name to further your own greed is the type of behaviour that is ruining this current climate of gaming. Now, I'm not some old fuck who just says, oh, modern gaming is bad, because that's retarded. It's mostly true, but the fact it lacks nuance is telling of the people who spout it. Games like Deep Rock Galactic, Terraria, Hell Let Loose, Payday 2, The Binding of Isaac are just a few examples of really good gaming, getting what you pay for. Fuck, even some mobile games are just as beautiful. Ones I recommend for a boring work evening or road trip is Plague Inc., the full XCOM 2 mobile port, and Oregon's Trail Director's Cut. Fuck, even even buy like the old XCOM reboot, because that's got a mobile port as well. Those are ones that I personally hold in high regard. Games that make you think and reward you for being patient yet resourceful. Games that also don't have a fucking automatic play button, because why would you want the game to play itself? That defeats the entire point, does it not? Like, I have heard of games where you do go idle and the game does everything for you, but at least that's its gimmick. It's the selling point of that particular game. But when has the traditional XCOM formula ever been about the game playing itself? I'll tell you when.
Never.
Fuck. Anyways, may this game remain hated. May 2K forever be despised, and may you have a great day, dear viewer. Thanks for joining me on this small little rant I needed to get out, and seeing it all the way to the very end. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Expect another video soon. It should be a good one like episode 3 was, and once again, it's about XCOM. So, in the meantime, this has been Nathan X2000. You take care, everyone. Oh, and 2K, go fuck yourself.